Welcome back to Gold Cup Racing in the Motor City of Detroit. Now, the Jasper Engines and Transmissions boat went over, but that is not the only boat that sustained damage. Look at the right sponson of the Miss Budweiser. Let's get an update on Mike Hansen.
We're in the medical center with Mike Hansen. Michael, how you feel?
Oh, a little stiff and sore, but other than that, I'm fine.
What happened?
Not real sure. It must have been a gust of wind. We really didn't hit any rough water. I was far enough behind that I pretty much relegated my position to being third. I wasn't going to be able to catch Dave Vilwalk or the Budweiser team, either one. So we were just kind of backpedaling, going to finish the next lap and a half, and all of a sudden the front end started to come up. I stood on the canard pedal as hard as I could to try to bring it back down, and hovered for a while, and all of a sudden the right side started climbing, and away it went.
A lucky driver, to put it mildly. Here's the start of Heat 3B. Smokin' Joe's T-Plus engine treatment, the wellness plan, Miss DOC AccuView, and the Miss Bell Tire. Already the Miss Bell Tire's got a problem, out of the race, so Ken Muscatel will take it from the sidelines.
And the Smokin' Joe is smoking as we look from the T-Plus, the second place boat, trying on the inside to catch up to Mark Tate on the back chute of this Detroit River.
Good racing, and the rough water seems to have subsided just a little bit. Look at the smooth ride Mark Tate is getting. The hometown driver. A lot of fans here in Detroit rooting for Mark. There's the T-Plus. Steve David out of Fort Lauderdale, Florida. He is really pushing that boat, the T-Plus, trying to catch up, taking a little bit of the rooster tail over the bow of the boat. He's going to have to be careful with that. Too much water getting into that turbine will shut it down.
And the first lap speed, the fastest of the 2 days for this boat, Smokin' Joe's at 156.959 as we look at the wellness plan with Mark Evans currently in third place.
Mark Evans doing a fine job of handling that boat, incidentally. It's riding very well for him. There you can see 1, 2, 3, and it's pretty tight up front. The T-Plus trying to close it in on the outside, taking the outside groove. He's going to ride a little bit further and maybe a little bit rougher, as you just saw there. Clean water for the Smokin' Joe's. Mark Tate, as he looks ahead out of his cockpit, you see the sight. Watch as he goes around the turns with the boat on the outside flying high. The T-Plus getting a little bit too much air underneath, but I'll tell you a secret. As long as I've known Steve David, and I've known him since he was about 16 years of age, he always drives a boat light. Some of the drivers just like to put the boat on the edge. Here's the checkered flag coming around now for the Smokin' Joe's. Another step for the defending champ in the Gold Cup Racing Series. Smokin' Joe's is first, followed by T-Plus, the wellness plan. In third, the Miss DOC AccuView and the Miss Bell Tire.
You look pretty stable on that back chute.
Yeah, I got high the first time down the back chute. It was a new boat setup for today. Even from our earlier test runs today, we changed the boat a little bit. We're just trying to dial this thing in and make darn sure that we're prepared for the final, because the water's going to be plenty sloppy.
400 points, guys.
Yeah, that's good. We love that. We need those points. It's a long season, and we got to get as many of them we can as quick as we can.
And the Miss Budweiser wants to get more points, too. They're busy repairing that boat, that big hole in the right sponson. Meanwhile, the draw for the fourth heat. This is the draw for the boats for the final round of heats leading to the Gold Cup. Mike Hansen, well, he won't be in the heats. He'll be watching from the sidelines, just a little stiff. We'll be back in a moment. For Detroit, Michigan, the APBA Gold Cup for Unlimiteds. This is Dick Crippen along with Jim Hendrick and Steve Montgomery. Heat 4A is about to start. As we look coming around, we've got the boats. Oh, there's two boats close on the right of your screen. They hit together. It looked like the Miss DOC AccuView and Smokin' Joe's. DOC AccuView spun out Scott Pierce, so he will not be coming up on the start line. Meanwhile, the green flag goes out to the Miss Budweiser. Smokin' Joe's, a great recovery by Mark Tate, now holding into second place on the inside. He's got to be a little bit shaken up by that, though, being hit out there. He doesn't really know what the damage is to his boat, Jim.
And the fact is that the accident just prior to the start, Dick, knocks off his timing. And remember, timing is important in the Gold Cup because you run on the clock there. As we look at the Budweiser in first place, coming off of corner number 2 down the back chute, followed by the Smokin' Joe's. It's Mitch Evans and Miss DOC third. Scotty Pierce is rerunning, and in DOC AccuView is now currently in fourth place.
Good race, good water conditions out for the Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer looks through the camera there, and you can see a beautiful, beautiful ride. He approaches the turn, he cocks the the wheel. The boat responds beautifully. You don't see a lot of bouncing around. That's important, but you do see some movement on that front wing as he plays with a little bit to keep the attitude of the boat perfect. Yesterday, the water was very rough on the river. It's calmed down to make a great day of racing. There's your second place boat and the defending champion, Smokin' Joe's. Mark Tate, who, as we said earlier, is from the Detroit area. He's got a lot of fans urging him to push it just a little bit harder. He's riding that outside groove. We say it all the time, but just to remind you again, in the outside groove, you have the advantage of higher speeds on the turns especially, but you also are running a longer course. So the inside boat normally is judged to have the advantage. There you can see Scott Pierce coming to the right of your screen now. That's the boat that spun on the start after hitting into the Smokin' Joe's, but he's got the boat back up. Apparently no real damage to that boat. Hopefully, sometimes they sit above the water and they don't realize that there's damage underneath. He's about to be lapped by the Miss Budweiser. Great shot inside, as you can see the rooster tail to the left of Chip Hanauer, and he's going to go by Scott Pierce, and Miss Budweiser holds the lead about 4 boat lengths over second place.
Chip Hanauer looking for his 4th consecutive heat victory here in the Gold Cup, and he has not been defeated since the season began. He had a perfect race in his first win at Phoenix, Arizona also. As we look inside, the Smokin' Joe's running in second place, trying to catch the Bud.
Mark Tate, the defending champion in the Gold Cup racing. This is 5-lap racing whenever they're running in Gold Cup competition. On the second day, which we are today, there's the Miss Budweiser. Chip Hanauer trying to grab another Gold Cup and break that little chain that Mark Tate started again last year. The interval time from Zodiac Sports Watch, 6.1 seconds between first place and second place. A good ride for the Miss Budweiser as she powers through the turns. You can see Chip Hanauer has extremely good control of the boat. A little bit lighter for the defending champion, Mark Tate, in the Smokin' Joe's. There's a great shot of the ride for the Miss Budweiser, and instead of going tiptoe back and forth, you can see she's jumping flat out of the water, indicating the water's a lot smoother than it was yesterday.
Look at the crowds around the course. Over 400,000 reported to be on hand here for Gold Cup 95 as we are in to our last lap, and the checker flag is waiting.
Great tradition for the Gold Cup here in the Detroit area, and these fans really know about unlimited hydroplane racing. They've had favorites over the years, and I'll tell you what, the first time that Chip Hanauer won here on the Detroit River in a Gold Cup race, I remember he took the boat around, and I don't think he touched the water more than about 5 times the whole race. He had an unbelievable run on some very rough water. Whoa, speaking of rough water, he got a little bit of it there, as does Mark Tate. He cuts through the rooster tail. You got to be careful with those rooster tails. They're a lot of water, and he's slowing down just a little bit. Here comes the finish now as the Miss Budweiser will take the checkered flag. That's going to be perfection on the day as we go into the championship heat in just a little while to determine this year's Gold Cup winner. Let's take a look at the results of this heat. Miss Budweiser first, Smokin' Joe's second, Miss DOC, then the Miss DOC AccuView, and the Miss APBA. So good racing in Heat 4A.
Let's take a look at the Miss DOC AccuView and the Smokin' Joe's as they bump together. Now look at the 2 boats to the right of your screen in the circle. See right there as they come off the apex of corners number 3 and 4, they bump. That knocks the timing of Smokin' Joe's off. Let's go down to Steve Montgomery.
Are these 5-lap heats in rough water a little tough on the owner?
I can't stand it. No more 5-lappers. I tell you, that's really something. That water's terrible out there.
Did you know there was a little pushing and shoving back behind you there?
Yeah, it was to my benefit. Somebody, I think Scott Pierce, was already in lane 1. I was in lane 2, and Mark came up in lane 1 also and had no place to go. So I think him and Scott, got into it. I wasn't going to give up my lane 2, so they had to. They were both fighting for lane 1.
Okay, you bumped the boat.
Yeah, I don't know if I bumped the boat, but I really feel that the boat bumped me. I established my lane before the one point down the back chute that you were, and we got it in the corner, and Scotty just seemed to come across and hit me. And when he hit me, it kind of screwed me up for the rest of the start, took a little boat speed away, and I de-excelled and wanted to make sure the boat was okay, and it cost us a start, but we had a great boat race. We chased Budweiser. We were chasing hard right up to the last turn there.
All right, will the boat be okay for the final?
Smokin' Joe Camel Power Boats will be ready for the final. We're going to put in the big gorilla, and we're going to go get them.
Steve?
Scott, first of all, give us your version of the little hip check here.
Well, I think it was pretty obvious. I mean, I had the lane from down in the first corner, and Mark, insisted on pushing up there, and I left him plenty of room to go through there. He just got on the throttle and the boat went sideways on him, and he just kind of crawled up over the front of the boat. And I mean, you know, it's in front of about 50,000 people. I think it was pretty obvious what happened.
We get ready now for Heat 4B, and Dave Villwock is already getting into the driver's seat, checking everything out. We'll be back to check him out in just a moment. We continue the countdown to the Gold Cup Final Championship race later this afternoon, but right now we can see some preparations for that race as the Miss Budweiser installs what they call the best bullet, the big engine. They're putting it in and getting the boat ready. Out on the course, the boat's readying for Heat 4B, the T Plus among them, and down on the dock with owner Jim Harvey is Steve Montgomery.
Jim, you got no Tate, you got no Hanauer. You're going to make a run at Villwock?
We've changed the setup for this heat, trying to get ready for the final and trying to set the boat, settle the boat down. And if it feels good to Steve, he'll make a run at it.
4 boats in Heat 4B. Pico's American Dream with Dave Villwock, Steve David in T Plus engine treatment, Mark Evans in the wellness plan, and Ken Muscatel in Miss Bell Tire.
And they all look good at the start of this race. It looks like the Miss T Plus is going to be the one to battle the Pico's American Dream as they come down side by side. It is T Plus just barely in the lead by about a nose on the outside of the turn. On the inside, Pico's American Dream holding tight. Now you'll watch. He'll pull up and even it up on the back stretch. Both of these drivers fully aware that this is their final opportunity to garner points to get into the final heat later today, which will determine the Gold Cup Championship.
As they approach the Yacht Club turn down here near the Rooster Tail, it's still T Plus engine treatment with a slight lead on the outside. Second place on the inside is Pico's American Dream as he hangs it on the hook. The Rooster Tail rises, and a slight lead now for Pico's American Dream as he has the inside and is taking over the lead.
We've said many times that the inside boat has a slight advantage because although the speed is kept up on the outside lane, it is the inside lane that runs a smaller course. There you see Pico's American Dream's Rooster Tail off the left center of the T Plus. As now Stephen David sees what he has to do. He's got the power on, but where all of a sudden has Dave Villwock found the extra power for Pico's American Dream? It was neck and neck at this point in the first lap. Now they are separated. Look at Steve David try to come up on the outside. The outside boat can keep the speed high, but he has really got to be very mindful of the water that lays ahead. This is a river that can bite. It was biting all day yesterday. It has started to roughen up just a little bit up there as Steve David goes a little bit on the wide side, out of the turn, comes back through and into the Rooster Tail.
Third place right now is the Wellness Plan with Mark Evans and Ken Muscatel and Miss Bell Tire currently running in fourth.
Dave Villwock still doing a good job of driving. He's got the Pico's American Dream under control. You know, Jim, that boat has been running better and better. They kind of picked it up from last season. He really had a very good race out in Phoenix, finishing third in the overall pack, but did a very good job out there, and it showed a lot of good speed, and it was matched out against the T Plus.
Sure, and he won 2 races in a row last year, Seattle, and then went on to San Diego. But today, like Bernie Little said, it's an ocean out there. They're really fighting the course.
Well, it looks like they've got it under control. The toughest ride is going to the T Plus right now. He has moved into the wake trying to pick up that smooth water. Really, at this point, he just has to go for the points to make it into the final heat, and that's really all he's looking for. Nobody wants to break up equipment. If somebody else has established a very solid lead, you might as well lay it back just a little bit. If you see an opening, then you capture it. But now you can see Dave Villwock is starting to lap the field.
Team secrets. They don't show everybody all their tricks in the preliminary heats that have lasted yesterday and today. They'll wait for that winner take-all final, which of course is coming up here on ESPN very shortly.
And of course, we refer back to Bernie Little, who was putting into the Miss Budweiser the best bullet, as they like to call it. We don't even know if we've seen that engine on this course.
And Mark Tate's got his Gorilla.
That's right. So we've got quite a collection coming out there. A little bit of a zoo, if you will, for the final heat. That'll be the Gold Cup. Look at the ride of Pico's American Dream. And we have a little race for second and third out there right at the moment.
Yeah, and that'll be the Wellness Plan challenging the T Plus as they come down to this final lap. And the checkered flag is waiting for the Pico's American Dream with Dave Villwock. Here's our second place boat, the T Plus. Third is the Wellness Plan.
Boy, look at these fans as they root him home. Dave Villwock takes the win in Heat 4B in Pico's American Dream, and that will lift his spirits.
And he'll make the final, as will the T Plus, and the wellness plan makes the final.
Larry Wisner, you look like a happy sponsor right now.
Well, it was a great race, and actually we're excited about the finals now. Budweiser's been tough, but we think we can challenge them, I'm sure.
David, how's the boat ride? Are you ready for the final?
It's good. It's going to be rough, but luckily we've got some good propellers. That was a Pico propeller that was built right here in Detroit, and it's been a long time since we've had some good equipment built here in Detroit. So, we're going to take that same equipment and then all the rest of it, the people that are here to help us, and use that fan support to push us to a win in the final, hopefully.
Good luck, guys.
Thanks a lot.